We're gonna practice like champions. We're gonna eat like champions. We're gonna breathe like champions. We're gonna sweat like champions. We're gonna do everything the champions do. You have to trust each other.
But what are you prepared to sacrifice?
The hardest person I had to deal with was myself.
What is going on, L&M family? I got another super awesome, inspirational, motivational. Believe it or not, he's in the construction industry as well. We connected through LinkedIn. He attends the live streams. We jumped on a phone call. I was like, oh my God, I gotta get you on the show because of the energy that it brings and like his open perspective about leadership and investing in people. He's a senior project manager, self-made with over 20 years. He's in the painting industry and he's like a straight up football aficionado, but not like American football, soccer. And so hopefully we'll be able to get into that. My buddy's name is Mr. Mario, and you're going to get to know him here in a second. Now, if this is your very first time here, this is the Learnings and Missteps podcast, where you get to see how real people just like you are sharing their gifts and talents to leave this world better than they found it. I'm Jesse, your selfish servant, and let's get to know Mr. Mario. Mario, how you doing, my friend?
Doing pretty good, sir. How about yourself?
Oh man, just here slacking off, pretending like I'm working.
Yeah, but that's what they tend to say about everybody in this industry, right? Anybody that's in the office, we don't do anything. We just
Right. That's not true. That's not true at all.
it's not true.
So,
I wish it was sometimes, but it's not.
yeah, for sure. So you're senior project manager, but I know you have a lot more responsibility than just like managing projects. You have a whole lot of commitment and involvement in the local community there in Austin. So my question, or the L&M family wants to know, was that your original plan? Did you know 20 years ago that you were going to be doing what you're doing today?
No, sir. It was nowhere near my vision. At first, I wanted to be a doctor, and then
Woo!
as I was going through high school, I was attracted by the technology industry. So I actually started going to school for computer engineering.
Really?
It was never my plan, never in my mind. No, sir.
Okay. We talked about this a little bit before we hit record, but when I was out there in the field, I wanted to be a foreman because, man, the foreman, they got it made. And then I said, man, I want to be a superintendent because all they do is drive around. And then every promotion I got, I was like, man, this stuff is way harder than I thought it was. Is that kind of your experience in what you're doing now?
Yes, sir. So I actually was promoted to be a foreman when I was 19 years old. I started running small jobs in the paint industry. I was blessed. I had really good mentor at the time, and his name's David Hernandez. Never gonna take any credit from him. He's the one that taught me the fundamentals on the applications of the product, technical painting. And then from there on, it just when he moved up, superintendent, then he took me out with him, so I became a foreman. Later on, I got the opportunity to function like a superintendent slash foreman, kind of like a hybrid.
Yeah.
And yeah, the same stuff that you were just mentioning, is exactly what I was receiving from our field is that all you do is drive around, and this is my response after a few times of receiving that type of feedback. I started entering with this. I traded my job for one day, and then you
Okay. Yeah.
that's it. And there was actually a few opportunities when I had to take time off and I had to find somebody. Somebody had to oversee the job.
Right.
And I'm telling you, 3 days in, they were already blowing up my phone
Oh,
because
yeah.
it,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. So, what kind of advice would you have for like a young, hungry trade craft worker out there that wants to not just the next promotion, but wants to go from installer to foreman to super? What's the things you would tell yourself if you could go back and say, "Hey, Mario, think about this. You need to learn this. This is what you should focus on."
well, number one, And this is something that I tell everybody that I coach or teach, right? Number one rule is you have to believe in yourself. If,
Mm,
if you don't believe in yourself, you already have a big hurdle right there. So first of all, believe in yourself. Second, surround yourself with people that are already there. Don't, I mean, why are you going to get advice from somebody that's from the same level as you or even worse? You know, that's the reality. Your teammates, they're not always going to be supportive or believe in you, or a lot of times they're discouraging. They tell you, "What you you're not gonna get there. And there's no way you can do it." But that's why I say believe in yourself and then surround yourself with people that are already there. Then you can start asking the question: how did you do it? What do I need to do? What do I need to learn? And stay open minded. The way I did it was that I was blessed that I was surrounded by very phenomenal foremen. I had
mm,
different foremen, the old school foremen. Back then, because times are different now. Back then,
right.
being a professional painter was people were proud about it.
Yeah.
It was something that you will find a lot of pride on. And I had at least one of them. But then, still to this day, have not seen anybody like them. I never was able to reach that level that they had. But each one of them had different styles. Each one of them had their strengths, their weaknesses. And so what I would do is I would grab the strong stuff from each one of them, put it
Mm,
together, and then I will create my own version. And that's exactly how I coach and I teach. I will give you the fundamentals. I will give you the instructions, the steps to follow. From there on, it's all up to you. You're not gonna do everything exactly how I tell you or exactly how I did it, but you have an idea of what to do. So make it yours. Make it yours because the only way to succeed is, the best being your best self. If you're comfortable, like right now, I'm being myself. I'm not using big words. When I go to corporate meetings, I have to use big words. I have to prepare myself. I have to put up a thought,
yeah.
right? This is the real Mario, and I always tell people if you can be yourself in any type of setting and be successful, that's the best way to go. That's the best
Mm,
way.
yeah. Yes, because the amount of pressure that you take off of yourself by just, I see, this is it. This is what you're getting. This is me. Like it's easier to do that than it is to put on the facade, but in some cases that's kind of necessary.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you mentioned that you wanted to be a doctor, and then you also said you talked about a real, like, honest appreciation for the trade of painting. When you decided or when you started in the trade, was there any kind of external disappointment, judgment from family members or friends about, okay, you wanted to be a doctor and look at you now, you're a painter? Did you have to deal with any of that? Before we get there, I want to do the L&M family member shout out. And this one goes out to Miss Claudia. Miss Claudia says, Jesse's time management workshop is just what I needed to get started with the right mindset. Thanks again, Jesse, for all the effort and energy you put into making us all better. That is super awesome. She sent me that. Of course, if y'all heard it, she signed up for the time management workshop. And if you want to do that, things available. And if you just want to send me a nice positive note or a stinky note or some kind of thought, something that triggered in your head, do that because I love seeing them because it gives evidence to me that people are out there listening and I get to shout you out in the future.
Yeah, sure I did. Believe it or not, the toughest person that I had to deal with was by myself.
Oh,
I was very disappointed. I felt like I had failed myself, first of all.
okay.
Uh, so at that time, I was the first person to make it to college from my whole family, from the coast of in the north, which is the coast of Pilar. My mom's last name is Pilar. I was going to be the first college graduate, you know.
Wow.
So I think now thinking about it, I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. So I was setting up myself for failure, pretty much. Unfortunately, the circumstances at that time limited me from being able to pursue that. And
Sure.
then, but as far as family members, yes, there was disappointment, not as bad, but it was more from the peers. peers were the ones that, like you just said, no que muy que la. Yeah, things happen, but what I've learned in life is that it's not focused on the failure. Focus on how to surpass it and move on. If you focus on the failure, you're gonna get stuck there. So don't listen to the people. Don't listen to the peers. Don't listen to them. They're not. They don't know what you're going through. They don't know what all you have to do to get to where you're at. But yet there was definitely a lot of disappointments on my peers. Family members were pretty supportive,
Oh
and
wow.
the hardest person I had to deal with was myself, my own.
Mm. Okay, I love that because I had the same similar experience when I was in apprenticeship. I knew that I loved the work, right? Like the physicality of the work, the problem solving, the environment. It was like everything I could have ever asked for. But in my head, I was a failure because all my friends were going to university and I could have. And it wasn't until my third year of apprenticeship that I finally started feeling like hell with it. This is my career. I'm going to do something awesome with this. But inside my head, it was real difficult overcoming, wrestling the self-doubt, the judgment that came from it. And all it took was a little look or a little comment from somebody, and there I went down the drain with my thinking.
Aspiring.
Yes, the spiral. Yes, yes, yes. So I know that there's, and hopefully it's getting better. It seems like there's a lot more messaging and appreciation for careers in the trades. But for people that are struggling with that internal struggle about, man, I'm in the trades, I coulda, shoulda, woulda. What kind of pointers would you give them to come to terms with them having made a really great decision?
Well, like I said earlier, believe in yourself. You have to
Mm,
believe in yourself. If you stay with the mindset of believing in yourself and your ability, then the hurdles will get smaller. But a big challenge, if you don't believe in yourself, anything's gonna look hard to tackle. You're gonna be
yep.
driving on a little puddle, but first believe in yourself. It's true though. I've done it myself. I've gotten to it. That's what I'm saying. Is life teaches you lessons. So believe in yourself and do not ever be embarrassed of what you are able to do. Because at the end of the day, you're doing it most likely for, well, first of all, you need the money for it. That's the main reason why people
Yeah.
work, right? So we need to pay bills. Some of us, some of them might have more responsibilities. Some of them might have kids, a family. And so, as long as you're doing the best that you can to provide for your family, you should never be embarrassed of what type of project or career or job that you have. As long as you provide for your family, that should be the most important part. The follow one is don't be embarrassed to be in the construction industry because there's a lot of room for the construction industry. You can go a lot of different paths. So there's a lot of options. Not only that, you got to think about this. There's a lot of jobs out there right now that depend on something like technology, for example, right?
Hmm.
Like this, not to put you in a spot, but IT. Let's give you
Yep.
an example. IT. What happens if the power goes out?
Nada. I'm done. Yeah.
And whenever you're out there on the trade, like I tell my kids, especially my boys, is learn things that nobody can take away from you. Learn things
Yes.
that are always going to be valuable, and learn things that will feed your family no matter what. There's other trades that like mechanics, doctors. You're always going to
Yep.
need engineering, engineers. You're always gonna need engineers. Society needs that kind of help and support. Politicians, they know how to create peace. They know how to unify things. Lawyers, you're always gonna need somebody to help you, guide you. And society really does need those fundamental things. So don't ever be afraid. Don't ever feel shameful of yourself because there's no limit. There's no limit. The only limit that you would experience.
In between your ears. I like what you said. Some people drown in a puddle. It reminds me of this video I think I saw on TikTok. There's a lady and she's going crazy. Oh, I'm drowning. She's panicking and freaking out. She's holding on to something. She's in like in a river, and all she had to do was stand up. The water wasn't that deep, but she was laying down, holding on to this thing, panicking. And finally, somebody grabbed her and stood her up, and she's, oh,
I happen to
it's
me. So
really
I'm not the best swimmer. Okay, so
okay.
I'll get really nervous. and me and my wife were tubing, and I got to an area where I wasn't sure how deep it was, and I fell off the tube, and I was floating like Superman. I was floating
Yeah.
like a current. The current was keeping me afloat, and I'm yelling at her, "Throw me the rope! Throw me the rope!" And she yelled, "Stand up! Just stand up!" And I was
Again, it's what's in our head, man. So
like, "Here,
yeah, yeah. The first conversation you and I
yeah,
had, man, it was clear that you have a very firm grasp on the value of your mindset, on the way we think and the way we see things. Where did that come from?
I will contribute that to my parents.
Yeah.
My, my dad specifically, he's been somebody that I've always admired. We used to go hunting. I was like 3, 4 years old, and we're talking about staying out there at night. We would jump on the board. All we would take is the rifle, the gun to hunt, and matches, blanket, and a little bit of salt. That's
That's
it.
it.
And so people go hunting for 3, 4 days out there. Oh,
Wow.
imagine a 3, 4 year old kid through all that. Me seeing him go through things in life. Like one time he stepped on a big nail and it came in from under and to the top. And
Oof.
he stayed so cool headed. And all he asked me was go grab the pliers and pull it out. So here goes the pliers. You're looking for the pliers. Okay, come back again. Water pliers. Go back up there, grab him. I find him. I bring him, and yeah, he's like at the count of three, just pull. And I pull it out.
Yeah.
He stayed so composed, and he would always tell me, the pain can be controlled. The blood,
Mm.
the blood, you cannot. You can slow it down by staying calm, but the pain you can control it. So
Wow.
once you learn how to control certain things in your mind, a lot of things are not going to be impossible anymore. And that stuck to me. That stuck to
Yeah.
me. And so from there, growing up, it was just me questioning more and more and more. But I
Wow.
can share a lot with him and my parents. I think that's where he came from, an early age.
Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned mentors earlier, but like being able to see somebody do these kind big things shifts your thinking because now you know what's possible. Right now, like for real, somebody that I know, a human being that I can touch and hear their voice, has responded to a situation where a lot of people would have lost their mind and just stayed cool and made it happen. And so it's okay. Well, hell, I could do that, and I don't have to step on a nail. Like I could do that to a lot of things.
So
Um,
you go head on head with the puddle. Don't drown in the puddle.
yeah, don't drown in the puddle, man. I love it. I love it. All right. So you were in the trades. You got to work with some really great foremen. Now you have a whole lot of responsibility up there in Austin.
Yes, sir.
What was that path like? What are some of the lessons you learned coming up in the field through the different positions to that you apply today in the work that you do now?
Teamwork, stay open minded. Those two things you don't take away. You can addictive higher you move up, the more you need the team. I learned the hard way that you cannot do any big thing by yourself.
Ah,
You need a team. So it's the same application. When I was in the field, I was a foreman. I built a team. It took me 4 years to build a team. And
okay.
we were the type of team that, let's say, they would give me a project and the superintendent would tell me, you're going to need 6 people. I will look at the plan. I will go walk the job. I will come back and I say, just give me one or two. Are you sure? Yeah, you got it. And so we will go in there, we will execute. But it took time to get to that point. Probably like 50 people that came to my job where I was in charge. I think it was like five of us total, me and 4 guys. And so teamwork, I realized that when you have a strong team and you can work as a unit, you can trust each other to do what you need to do. and not have to worry about going back and checking their work all the time, I think you can do anything like that.
Mm.
So I've applied that just about everywhere, including soccer. You know,
Ah,
so it's the same application, different type of coaching, but at the end of the day, it's the same mindset: unity, trust, communication, accountability. You have to plan, uh, but more than anything, it's trust. You have to trust. If you don't
mm,
trust, you will not be able to grow as a team. And then you start looking at you start tuning it up more and more as you start looking at chemistry, you start looking at other things, but those are the fundamentals: teamwork and open
yeah.
mind.
So, folks, if you don't know this, Mario's built teams out on the field, in the soccer field, soccer teams, and in business. And so I think what I'm taking is there's some principles that translate across from business to the field. Now, in terms of selecting a team and this trust element, and I don't care like if you want to use a work story or a soccer story, what's the one way to not do it? Have you ever done it wrong? And if you have, what did that look like? So we can give people the warning, like, don't do it like this.
I will say this, and this is I repeat this a lot. I'm not the type of person that will tell you my way or the highway.
Okay,
You cannot do that. You can't. Everybody learns different. So you have that's why I say stay open minded. I ran
got it.
into I ran into foremen and leaders still to this day that are stuck in the my way or the highway.
Yep.
Not gonna work. All you're going to do is create separation and create chaos if you do that. And there's gonna be no trust. So how can you build a team when there's no trust? You
You can't.
know? So number one is I. Take the I out of your vocabulary when you're speaking about the team. So it's not about I, it's we. And that's one of the things that they hammer on me here where I'm at. It's we, we.
Yeah.
It's not co-worker, teammate, you know?
Ah,
And it was hard at first, but it becomes a habit. Don't expect for people to do things your way or the highway. That's number one. You
yeah.
can,
Yeah. And that's a tough, I know I'll say it this way, my experience coming up from an installer to foreman and so forth, this is my way or get the hell out of here type of guy. And you said it beautifully. If you want to build big things, you can't do it alone. And that's what was happening. I hit a point where, yeah, like that was all I could accomplish because it was my way or the highway, which makes me really do carry the load of do things on my own. I had to learn how to listen and be flexible and learn, oh, you do it that way is better. Or maybe it's not better, but it's not worse.
yeah.
And it works. So hello, let it, man. I struggle with that for so long, man.
And that's what I tell our foremen when I'm coaching them, and even our superintendents sometimes. You don't have to solve everything by yourself.
Mm,
Gather the team together, present the problem, present the goal that needs to happen, where we need to be at, present the constraints if possible. And a lot of times they don't want to give you a constraint, and just let them figure it out. Step back, let them figure it out, because at the end of the day, they're going to be the ones that have to execute. So
yes.
if you tell them how to do things, if you go back to the my way or the highway, and you tell them I want to do it like this, like this, like that, not everybody's going to be able to do that. Weak link in the chain. So why not just let them do it their way? Like I always tell people when I was out there in the field, I would tell like the new hires, right?
Yeah.
I would tell them, I'm never going to tell you I want it this way or not. What
Yeah.
I tell you is I want it to be like this. This is the final product that I want, and this is how much time you have. Now, if you do it from left to right or right to left, upside down, on your arm, whatever, I don't care how you do it, as long as we have the same outcome and we stay within the budget. That's all I care about. And believe it or not, that opens up their mind, and then they start sharing things that you probably didn't know, and
Yeah.
they learning from them, and then you start becoming better because Now you're learning technique, applications that you probably would have never even hear had you done it my way or the highway versus asking them, how can we do this? How would you do it? Teach me, show me,
Yeah.
what's the way to do it? And let them know we're gonna give it a shot, but if it doesn't work, we'll go back to fundamentals. And
Yeah.
believe it or not, you learn a lot and they grow too. And then that's
Yes.
like we trust at the same time. Everything's connected. You move one piece, everything else shifts. Wherever you shift, everything else shifts, like domino effect.
Yes. Yes. You know what I love? The point you made is when we ask our team, what do you think? What would you try? What do you recommend? How can we? Here's the problem. Here's the goal. What do you think we should do to get there? That it invites them in to contribute to the idea. It reconnects them to their agency because you know this out there in the field. There's people that have gone their whole career that have been told what the hell to do, how to do it, when to do it, like blah blah blah, and that's not fun. So you get this, you just whatever. Tell me what you want. Tell me why you want me to do it. But it's because of the way, like, it's easy to say, "Plus, they don't think for themselves." Well, no, it's not that. It's because they've had ideas that everybody poo-pooed on. So now they don't have any ideas because they haven't had to use that critical thinking, but engaging the critical thinking, that's the difference. And then, like you said, the trust, right? We're going to try it. If it doesn't work out, we'll go back to fundamentals. Duh. Like, beautiful. Let's give it a shot. Let's learn from it. And we have a backup plan. Man, solid. So the soccer stuff, what's up with the soccer stuff? All I know about soccer is I get tired watching people run, and people that do it, I'm amazed at how they can run and run and run and run and run for out. It blows my mind. So how did it capture your mind, and what is it that you're doing in that space?
Coaching. I love coaching. I love being kid. I love being at the time. I started coaching when I was a freshman in high school.
Ah,
My guinea pig was
I'm sure that you know leaving this world better than you found it doesn't happen by accident. And I want to help you spend more time making this world better for yourself and the people you care about. So I want to invite you to the next Do the Damn Thing Time Mastery Workshop because we're going to be having some fun. We're going to be taking all those goals, those ideas, those projects, those dreams, the things that you keep putting off because of the commitment you make to work and the commitment you make to family and the commitment you make to everybody else except for yourself. When you get those out of your head and finally come up with a plan, make the space, find the time for you to make those things real, for you to like actually get the ball moving on the things that are going to give more flavor and meaning to your own personal life. Check the show notes for the link. I hope to see you there. And back to the show.
my little brother.
Okay.
I was coaching him when he was little and was telling a lot, but he had an injury and that kind of him off course. But I continued coaching. As a matter of fact, when I made the decision that I was no longer going to play because I don't want to be injured. I cannot afford to be.
Yeah.
And at the time, I'm thinking to myself, if I'm out of work, how am I supposed to feed my family? So I had an injury and I stopped. So I dedicated to coaching. My satisfaction and what I love the most is seeing people be successful in that sport. That sport itself, and I'm sure there's a lot more sports to do this too. But through soccer, you learn how to work as a unit. Soccer, believe it or not, is more than just running around. You might not see it because it's not as obvious unless you're seeing, but there's a lot more than what you can see on TV. There's formation, there's
Yep.
tactics, there's styles, defense styles, offense styles. There's all kinds of variations that you can use. And you have to know how to apply those formations and those tactics depending on the type of player that you have. When you pick up a team, you don't know what you're getting. It's not like you're selecting it. I had a few times where I would get a phone call from a parent and they would ask me if I could help their kid team prepare for a tournament because their coach is not going to be able to do it, or they have coach. That's a challenge, and that's a lot of
Yeah.
pressure. So you have to apply those same things. One, first is get them to work together as a unit. Once they work together as a unit and they trust each other, then you start applying everything else. Everything else is easier. Those are the
Mm.
hard part. Believe on each other, believe on themselves, trust each other, trust the system, trust everything that's being happening. That's what I always tell them. You have to trust what I'm coaching. If you don't trust what I'm saying,
Yeah.
nobody will grow. The team's not going to grow. If one or two people cannot fall into the buy into the program, we're not going to be champions. And from the very first day that I tell them, when I pick up a team for a whole season, from the very first day I would tell them, we're going to be champions. We're going
Mm.
to be We're gonna practice like champions. We're gonna eat like champions. We're gonna breathe like champions. We're gonna sweat like champions. We're gonna do everything the champions do. So we're gonna practice like we play, and we're gonna play like we practice. But we have to trust each other, and we
Mm.
have to be patient with each other, and we have to help each other. We don't have time to be putting people down. We don't have time for that. So work as a unit. Again, as a unit, as one. What's the goal? One game. And then from there, when be on the whatever place you have to be to move on to playoff. And then make it to the championship. And then you win the championship. So set the goal, let them know what are the steps.
Yeah.
Because through the season, they know where we're at. And they're constantly asking, what place are we in? What place are we in? And they're watching the group, the stand,
Yeah.
and they know what they need to do. So there's been times where the situation is we have to win this game no matter what. Otherwise, we're out. We're out. All our
Yeah.
chances are.
Do or
And then
die.
it never fails that it's the number one team that you're going against. So you have to do the unexpected that everybody doesn't think you can do. But when they win that game, oh my God. Playoff, championship, everything else, cruise
Piece of
control.
cake. Yeah.
So again, it's the same stuff. But that's where I got into soccer is because I love building teams. I love seeing the kids faces, receiving the medal, celebrating together. I love the development of the team when I first start working with them and then when we finish the season. At
Yeah.
first you have little groups, these three over there, those five over there. By the end of the season, they're always together.
Hunting.
Week four ago, they all run together. And before that, it was like one or two people would celebrate with that person. And where's everybody else at?
Yeah.
Everybody contributed to this. Everybody was a practice. So
Yeah.
without the team, that player cannot be the best scorer or the best forward and score goals to win championship. So you need the team. And once those people or players understand that they need the team, then they start being a teammate.
Yeah.
A lot of times you have players that are the best, and so they feel like I don't need a team. I can do it by myself. But when they start using the team and relying on the team, and it even helps the team because the opponents don't even know who to target because everybody they
Yeah.
will be able to shut you down. But once that individual learns, if I use my team and rely on my team, I'm gonna get a lot of championships.
Yeah.
So, but what got me into soccer was just that the satisfaction of seeing people develop, seeing players get scholarships, you know,
Wow.
people for tryouts, to go tryouts for professional walk on. I had a player that reached out to me out of the blue one time and Coach Mario, a big favor. What's going on? I'm gonna go try out in Mexico. Oh,
Oh.
that's not an easy thing. Yeah, sir, reaching out to you. Can you prepare me? All right, well then get ready because it's not gonna be easy. But seeing them succeed and seeing them grow, not just as players, as teammates on the industry and the field, but as parents, as
Yeah.
brothers, as sons, seeing them grow and be good, that to me is that's why I love what I do.
Yeah, man. That is the ultimate. Being able to see I remember when I was foreman, journeyman, foreman, and then the different responsibilities I had, being able to see people grow into what I could see and what they told me they wanted was like super, super fulfilling. Now, one thing that I experienced, and I think, and I wish, like, I wish this for everybody in the world. When you're a part of something great, overcoming something gigantic, a championship, playoffs, like whatever it doesn't matter what it is, but doing that with a team shifts something inside. Well, it shifted something inside of me. In high school, we were a very competitive baseball team. We made it pretty far into the playoffs, and it completely transformed the way I saw myself and I saw things ahead of me. And so I imagine you've seen that with your teams and with yourself. What is that? Like, why do you think that happens? You're a part of something great and something like it's not the Super Bowl, right? It's not the World Cup, but it changes the way you see the world forever. What do you think that is?
I think as human by nature, we don't like to be alone. You know,
Mm,
we don't like to be alone. That's our nature. If you really think about society and human, we don't like to be alone. And so when somebody feels like they're part of something good, they're gonna have pride. And
okay.
when they have pride, they're gonna give it their best. And so being part of something big and know that it's possible and that you were part of it, it picks up your self-esteem.
Yeah.
Your self-esteem is built. And now you're realizing like I can actually do that. I can actually be part of something like that. And so I think with me personally, what shifted to me was that I was doing the impossible, doing what people couldn't do.
Yes. Yes.
So I got to high school, right? I was not the best player. I'm gonna make that very clear. I was not the best player, but I
Mm-hmm.
was a coachable one, and I would rely a lot on my teammates. I would rely a lot on them. I was scared to get hit, so I would hit the ball right away. Like someone tell me how to hit the ball. But coming into high school and hearing people say, "Oh, freshmen hardly ever make varsity."
Mm.
Someone tells me that, and I'm like, "Okay, let me prove you wrong." Made varsity
Nice.
and never seen a freshman be a captain. Okay, prove them wrong, and
Wow.
then, well, you should move school. You deserve to be part of a better team. Why you gotta talk like that about my teammate? You know,
Ooh, yeah.
been working hard in junior high for a goal. Our goal was to make playoffs for the first time ever in our high program, our high soccer program. We were working together at the unit, the core team, not everybody, but like 7 or 8 core. Why would you talk like that about my team? You don't know what we've gone through. You don't know how many failures we've experienced as a team. How many times we cried together as a team. How
Mm.
many times we see one of our teammates get hurt, and now we have to figure it out because now we have to replace that, how to overcome all these challenges. Don't talk like that about my team. And then we made playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just the program just kept getting better and better. So me seeing my brothers who were younger going to see them play a playoff, going deeper and deeper in playoff, that was like, I'm part of that. I'm still part of that. We
Yeah.
were the ones that set the standards for this. Now everybody let's pick it up and keep it going. So I think it's a combination of everything. You leave a legacy. You're proud of what you do. It always feels good for people to give you compliments. You know,
Yeah.
it's always good to go to your high school and or hear people say, "I saw your name on the board" or whatever, something. And it can be for anything, not just high school. I saw your name on the news. I saw you like right
Yep.
now in the podcast. I saw you in the podcast. I never thought I would be doing anything like this. I'm glad to have the opportunity to meet you and you open the doors for me. We don't know what's coming out from this. We
Right.
got to like it. But I think it's a combination of all that. And when you're part of a team and you accomplish something big, it does. spark something in you. Because if you look at it the opposite way, people that are part of a team, they could be like the best team ever and they're supposed to be champions and they don't make championship, they get crushed. And those people a lot of times are struggling in life at the
Hmm.
toll, the failure, the trauma that they experience. But I think it will impact you either way. Being part of something like that, it will impact you negatively or positive. That's
Yeah,
my
yeah. Oh man. So it's clear that you have a deep passion and connection and appreciation for the people that you accomplish things with and build things with.
yeah,
And it's obvious that that love started with football and you're still at it, right? You're coaching now, but you're also building a team in business with Carco there in Austin. How many times have people said, bro, relax, you're a little too intense? Has that ever happened to you?
every day. Yeah. Every day. As a matter of fact, not that long ago, a few minutes ago, I was asking our teammates here in the office, I was asking them for feedback because we're struggling with some up and coming foremen.
Mhm.
And like, I don't blame them off the bat. I don't automatically think that they're the problem. I start analyzing myself. Wait, go back, go back, go back. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I need to reach him or approach him a different way. And we were just talking about that, and I was asking them, "Do you guys think I'm hard? Do you guys think I'm a hard person to work with? Do I overload you guys? Am I too straight?" And they were being honest with me. They're like, "Yeah, at first you were, but once we learned that you do have the best intentions for us, and we just trust,
Yeah,
be okay." But yeah,
yeah.
I every day. You're too intense. Well, let me finish this first before you ask me for something else. And yeah, every day.
Yeah, and yeah, it's it's a curse. It's a blessing and a curse. I had one apprentice, David Olguin. David, if you're listening, I always talk about you. When I started working with him, I'm like, he had all the skills, right? Like just he was a first green out of high school. I said, man, this guy's got it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make him a champion. So when I was in apprenticeship, we had a annual craft Olympics where you could go travel and compete against other. We were plumbers, so you can compete against other apprentices on the in the plumbing trade. And I decided this is what you're gonna do. He worked with, and he was. Oh, I took him every job I went to. About 2 years into it, he quit. He left the company. Yeah, he went to work for, and it was a great decision for him because he's moved up with the school district. But I was like, David, I had no idea. I've been working with him for 2 or 3 years. What happened, bro? I was like, why are you leaving? He's like, well, part of the reason is, you know, how construction, it's heavy and then sometimes it slows down. This was back in early 2000s. It's just, it makes me nervous not knowing that if I'm going to have a job or not in 6 months or 9 months. I'm like, yeah, bro. Like, we're always going to, you're good. You're always going to have work. No, it's just too much pressure. And I'm like, come on, man, that's your reason. He's like, well, no, that's not the only reason. I'm like, okay, tell me, and I'll go to the office. I'll tell him whatever. And he said, well, it's you. And I said, what? He said, Jesse, like having you is like a blessing and a curse. He's like, you have these expectations of me that are just too much for me. Like it's too much pressure. I said, you're freaking kidding me. He's like, no, like you decided that I'm gonna win the thing, and I don't even know what the hell that is. Like I just started. I said,
I
and I
know,
learned like,
I
uh-huh,
know, Eddie. That's what he was saying. And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I've learned to not just the big mistake I made there, and I repeated it multiple times in my career. But the big mistake I made was I had a vision for somebody and I decided we are going down that path. But I never got agreement for them to see if they even cared about that vision. And so now I do it the other way around. Hey, I see some things that I know you can accomplish. Are you interested in going down that path? Because if you're not, I need to know so that I don't so I don't freak you out and crush you under the pressure.
it's crazy that you mentioned that. I learned not that long ago, like I say about 2, 3 months ago.
Mm,
I learned that you have to get them to buy in further
yes.
and ask them, what do you want?
Yep.
Because this is what I see in you. This is what you can become. This other route you can go. I can help you get there. You have what it takes. But what do you want?
Yeah.
A lot of times they just want people. So I'm working on that one. I'm working on how to identify a people pleaser versus someone that's actually genuinely wanting to do what you brought them into, what you bring them in. But I started applying the scare tactic. I call it the scare tactic.
Ah, okay.
So because a lot of times, it's more likely that they approach you asking for help to get to a level or a position than you approach them, right?
Yep.
It's more likely for them to, hey, I want to be a foreman, okay? Well, you start working on this and this and that. Once you can master those things, you come back. The third step. But what I've learned now is now I explain to them what comes with that.
Yes.
One of the biggest things that I would make sure that they know is that the higher they move up, the lonelier they're going.
Dude, say it again. Yes.
The higher you move up, the lonelier you're going to be.
Mm,
Harder it is to find people like you. And so when you connect with someone like, I'm gonna be honest with you. The first time I talked with you, the first time I heard your messages, your videos, your podcast, I was like, shoot, like I felt like you were speaking directly to me. You know, challenges that you were talking about, I'm like, that's exactly what I'm going through. I think I told you this a few times, like I've never seen it from that perspective. You know,
yeah.
it opens my mind. But how we buy them in, explain to them what comes with that package. You're gonna lose people. You're gonna lose friends. You're gonna lose teammates. Might even lose superiors that might not want to be working with you no more.
Yep.
Just don't know. You don't know. But be prepared to lose people. Be prepared to lose friends and stuff. The other one is you're going to be making sacrifices. So you have to prepare your family. You cannot make a decision, a career decision, without having your family support. That's the worst thing you can do. It will break you, or it will break your marriage. You know how I know that? Because it happened to me.
Yo.
I didn't know what came with it until I was in it and I was spending more time on the job site. I would leave the house, my wife, my ex-wife, and my boys were asleep. I would come back home, they were asleep. I would work all weekend, all because I had to grow,
Yeah.
but I never shared it with my family.
Wow.
The boys were babies; they wouldn't
Yeah.
understand, but I could have shared it with her.
Yeah.
So when the opportunity came a few years ago to be part of a startup company before Carco, I sat them down. I sat my wife and I sat our kid.
Yeah.
They were young, like they're about 9 and 6,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and I was talking to them like they were adults. And I explained to them that I was going to be absent, that I was going to be working long hours. I gave them the whole expectation of what was going to happen. Everything is fine. Mom and I are okay. We have goals, but this is for everybody's good. Our goal is for me to move up so that we can be in a position where we can buy a home. And I asked them who wants their own room. Remember, I have 4. They're all in, and everybody was in. I
Yeah.
had to work. Like right now, I let them know from 1:30 to whatever time I'm not going to be available.
Yeah.
They know. So whenever you have the support from the people that are going to be there with you, and you explain to them what comes with it, worst case scenario, if they're
Yes. Yes.
yeah, I'm in. Then maybe that's it. That's it. You got somebody there. They will still all of a sudden drop. We can't control what they go through in life. We have to
Right.
understand it's not just they have a life. We don't know what
Yeah.
people are going through, and that's one of the things that I explain to people is don't judge the book by its cover. Don't ever think that you know what they're going through. Reach out to them. Leave work. aside and reach out because a lot of times we spend more time with our teammates at work or
100%.
than we do with our own family. So look out for each other and how you doing? How you
Yeah.
doing? But yeah, but going back to the question is, or the comment, yeah, like I have had people just quit too. And then later on I find out it, your expectations were unrealistic for me. I'm like, what do you mean? I've never had something from you that I cannot do or you cannot do. And all I wanted was for you to try. They don't even try and they quit. But
Yeah.
what can you do?
Yeah. No, I think that's expert advice, Mario, that I never did. Talk to your family. If you're going to take something on big, your support network, the people that you go home to, you gotta let them know what, because everybody thinks of all the highlights, right? Oh, we're gonna have dinners and we're gonna get a new, like all the fun. But no, 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 no. It also means that you might see me for an hour a day, maybe. And when you see me, I'm gonna be working. You gotta have those conversations. I never have, or the way I did was like, oh yeah, yeah, I'm gonna take this new position, this new job, and I'm gonna be more busy than I am now. That was no. I was going to be completely obsessed with the new job and do whatever it takes to be excellent at it as fast as I can. And what that meant was I was going to minimize the amount of time, attention, and energy I gave anything else. But I never said that. And just like you, they said, well, no, see you later. You got to go. You're never here anyway. Oh, damn. I did it again. Now, on the other side, for the ones that can't, hey, I want to have my favorite saying when the guys were like, what are your plans? What do you see? What do you want to accomplish? Where do you want to go? So I can help you get there. Well, I want your job. Awesome. I would always ask this: what are you prepared to sacrifice? And they go, what do you mean? You want my job? Take it, right? Please take it. But what are you prepared to sacrifice? I was like, because this is how many hours I worked when I was an apprentice, when I was a journeyman, when I was a foreman, when I was a superintendent, off the clock to learn the things that I learned and get good at the things that I got good at. And that's sacrifice. I'm not saying you have to do this stuff off the clock. What I'm saying is there's going to be sacrifice. And like you said, the further you elevate in the organization, the lonelier it gets. Like people stop liking me. And it's hard to like me to begin with, especially back then. But all of a sudden, I had no peers to share my experience with, to complain to, because everybody reported to me. And then my peers, plus they were competitive too, and they were waiting to trying to find how to get ahead of me. So I couldn't let them see my weakness and my pain and my struggle. It's lonely, man. It's
Yeah, I remember when we had our first when we first talked. I remember you asked me a question,
yeah,
and it stuck to me. Oh, you asked me a question, or it was said, "How many times do you hear you doing a good job?"
yep.
So the higher you go up, the less you hear that, and when you do, you're like, "What?
Are you okay?
Where you at? Am I? Thank you. Am I supposed to cry? What? How do I react to it? I forgot how to react to it because I'm the one, you
Yep.
know, giving the compliment now, and people want my approval. People want, oh, it is lonely. And I
Yeah.
remember that you asked me, what was the last time?
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, that's a good question. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%. Because when your phone rings, it's because somebody's calling to complain. Or somebody has a problem. Nobody's calling to say, "Hey, Mario, nice work, man. Your team out here is kicking butt. I just want to let you know y'all are doing awesome." Nobody does that. They're calling because they got a problem or because they're pissed off at you, and that's it. So back to the sacrifice. Right? The mental toughness becomes more and more critical, and the self-care. Can you take care of yourself? How do you recuperate and rejuvenate so that you can go back again? Without the thank yous and the attaboys and the good job. It's just do your job. That's what it is.
it's difficult. And going back to the support, I think the biggest support I have is my wife. At
Wow.
the end of the day, that's who I'm going with tonight. That's who I'm going
Yep.
to spend a few hours before I go to bed. And having her support is big because that's really who you can vent on.
Yep. Yep.
And it's a lot easier when you can vent to your spouse, your partner, boyfriend, whatever situation people are. It's a lot easier to be able to talk about problems that you dealt with during the day and they understand
Mm.
they're familiar with what you're saying because what I've realized is that there is more likely than not that a lot of times our teammates, our peers, or our mentors, they don't have that. They rely on their buddies or someone else, but you can't always be calling your friend at night. What better than having your spouse, your partner for life, to be able to vent, be able to talk? And a lot of times, well, I'm not even gonna say a lot of times. I'm gonna be straight up. She holds me accountable.
Whoo, man. Yeah.
She snapped me out of it when I'm starting to spiral. Oh, I'm gonna quit. That's it. That's it. I'm done. I'm tired. And she was not me out of it. I think it helps a lot to have that support.
Yeah.
I highly advise if you're gonna get into a career, if you're gonna pursue something, do a study of what it takes because a lot of times we don't. And I say we because I did it. I know what comes with the package.
Yes.
Get your family to buy in, get your support group to buy in, and that's a big deal. That is
Yeah. Yeah, man. Powerful, brother. Man, you brought so much wisdom. I'm always amazed by
a
people that are very accomplished in their career, that are that do more for the community
big
and are in a healthy relationship with another human being, because that's the one thing I have not figured out how to do. The career community, I'm good. That relationship stuff, not so good, man. I need some more work.
it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah. Now, I do understand the value of having a support network and having people that I can vent to, and that I can be, how should we say it? Not weak, but that I can be fragile with, and let
Yeah.
them know I'm scared, I'm nervous, I'm worried, I feel like I'm failing, like that I can open up to completely. I have a lot of those people in my life. I'm fortunate from that perspective. But like a lot sharing my space with another, I ain't got no Mario. I don't have any people in my house. I ain't got no plants, and I ain't got no pets. I ain't got nothing. It's just me.
Wow. I respect to you. I don't know how you well.
Yeah, it's it. One of my exes. What does she say? She says, Jesse, you're gonna love this. She said, Jesse, I think you're finally gonna find somebody that you can spend the rest of your life with. And I said, oh man, like I'm thinking it's because I'm more mature now, right? Like I got my stuff together. And I said, is that because I'm like more accomplished and more relaxed? She said, no, it's because of all the progress they've made with AI. She said, they're gonna be able to program somebody that can put up with all your crap. It was maybe.
I give respect to my wife all the time. Trust me, it's not easy. I'm sure it's not easy to have a husband that's really busy and
Yeah.
reactive like that. But
Yes.
that must have hurt. That must. You want to ask why would she make that comment?
Yeah, yeah. No, it was we give each other a lot of help. The good thing is we were together, we weren't together, and we still get along, but it was I have an obsessive mind. And so when I get hooked on something, I completely abandon everything else. And it's been a thing that I've done since I was a kid. I don't mean to be ugly about it, but I just don't want to do anything else except for the one thing. And that's not okay. In a relationship, that's not okay to just leave them hanging there with no explanation, no heads up, no timeline. I'm like, I'm just gonna be working on it until I master it. What does that mean? How long? It means until I master it. Leave me alone. That's not okay. That's the way I am. But I do have amazing people in my life that check in on me and I stay connected. But main point, is the advice that you gave of having someone in your life, having the conversation with them, helping them understand and get on board with, hey, this is a big thing. This isn't just going to affect me. This is going to affect us, the unit, back to the unity. This is going to affect the entire unit. This is what we need to be prepared for. Are we willing to go there? Huge, man. If I'm going to have to, if I ever get in a relationship, Mario, I'm going to go back and listen to this conversation over and over and over to remind me to have those conversations.
You have to, from the very get go, you got to let them know what they're getting themselves into. That way, you know if that's the person or not.
Right, 100%. Oh man, Mario, this was amazing. You've been generous with your time, and you're a very deep thinker. You're very committed to growing people, to challenging yourself. So I'm excited about your answer to the final question. Are you ready?
Not really, but bring it on.
All right, here it is. What is the promise you are intended to be?
Man, that's a tough one. There's not really just one, man. Yeah, it's a tough one to answer. I I think I'm still trying to figure that out myself,
Ah,
but I think I have an idea. I think I'm intended to be here, and what I tell people is, if I can leave this world once I'm gone, and I was able to impact one life through my wisdom, to me, I did my job.
yeah.
Because, like I shared with you when we first talked, there's nothing that can describe the feeling of running into someone that you coached as a little kid, and then you run into them. You don't even recognize them anymore because they're full grown, beard, everything, with kids and wife, and Coach Mario. He's like, I'm staring at them like, okay, obviously coached them before, and then get introduced to their family as "This is Coach Mario. And so many years later, for them to be able to still call me Coach Mario, and I feel like at that point we're like on the same level because we're both grown men.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's it.
But
That's amazing.
for right now, that's what I tell people is, what am I gonna do with this wisdom? There's,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna take it with me when I go. Why not share? Why
Mm.
not help people take time? I tell my kids, if you listen to my advice, you don't have to listen to my advice, but if you listen to my advice, I guarantee you, I will save you years of your time trying to figure out things.
Yep.
Now, in my career, in my area, my field, I can say that very confidently. If you follow my advice, I will guarantee you not only to get you where you want to be, but save you years
Mm.
of stress, of
Yep.
fear, and everything. So I think that's it. I don't know if I answered that correctly.
Beautiful answer. I'm not surprised at all. Like you say, if I could just help one person, if I could just give my advice, because I can't take it with me, share my wisdom to save people years of learning the hard way. That's beautiful, man. I think that's our whole purpose here on this world is to share with others the gifts that we have. Period. Period. Oh man. So did you have fun?
It's always fun with you, man. It's refreshing every time we get to talk.
Thank you for sticking it out all the way to the end. I know you got a whole lot of stuff going on. And in appreciation for the gift of time that you have given this episode, I want to offer you a free PDF of my book, Becoming the Promise You're Intended to Be. The link for that bad boy is down in the show notes. Hit it. You don't even have to give me your email address. There's a link in there. You just click that button and you can download the PDF. And if you share it with somebody that you know who might feel stuck or be caught up in self-destructive behaviors, that would be the ultimate. You sharing that increases the likelihood that it's going to help one more person. And if it does help one more person, then you're contributing to me becoming the promise I am intended to be. Be kind to yourself, be cool, and we'll talk at you next time.